Hi, I'm Amanda Shatila, and I am currently a Wayne State education major with a minor in political science. I agree with the campus smoking ban. I wish it was enforced a little bit more. That would be a little more helpful, but it's a good thing, and I don't really see why anyone would disagree with it or want to oppose it.
Hi, I'm Alex McLennan, and I'm an enthusiast of the campus libertarians here at Wayne State. Well, I think the smoking ban is positively absurd. It stifles the economy. Is what it effectively does. Is you're taking money away from the cigarette industry, and what are you supposed to do if the cigarette industry doesn't want you to listen? America was born and raised around the cigarette industry. All of those tobacco plantations really kicked this country's economy off way back in the day. Never mind the rest of it. Just focus on those for a second. All right. Now, when you do, it's like getting rid of apple pie. Getting rid of it's so fundamental to America's core values that you can't ban it. It would hurt the economy. It would take away a classic American tradition. Is what it would do.
When you study political science, you learn about, not only politics, but you learn about the history and the different parties. And there was, way back when the country was first forming with Thomas Jefferson, this sort of laissez-faire idea came from the French. And I think that that idea is kind of loosely translated into the libertarian belief system. So I can see where someone would have this abstract concept that no regulations is the way to go because they don't want their needs imposed. They see the government as this big, sort of scary, evil force that is trying to take away their rights. But in order to give as many people as many rights as possible and to be as moral as possible, there has to be some sort of controlling force there.
Look, all of these public health regulations are it's unfair to the individual. I mean, this is a free country, is it not? We should be free to make our own choices. I mean, if I want to smoke a cigarette, I should be able to smoke a cigarette wherever I dang well please. It's just that simple. When you were a kid, did you go to Nassau Coney Island? Smoking section, no divide between the normal section, and it was beautiful. It was everybody equal, together in harmony.
When you talk about things like the smoking ban, it's a little hard to put it in perspective, but in political science, you learn to take things kind of as a big whole, as a big picture. And so libertarianism it works as an abstract concept, much like communism. You read the Communist Manifesto, it's not that bad. But we can see from history that it doesn't work. And libertarianism doesn't have much else besides that abstract concept. It's not rooted in any sort of reality. When you think about it this way, you learn about the moral dilemmas of the rich versus the poor. It becomes very clear. The rich have rights, yes, just like any other human being. But if there were no restrictions at all, what's to stop the rich from just blindly stealing from the poor? So the poor also have rights too, but the only way to enforce the rights of the poor is to create restrictions on the rich.
Listen, I'm willing to accept anything in the name of freedom. That's what this country was built around. We had a revolution for that, And public health regulations are just unfair. They stifle business because they place tighter constraints on them. They can't exercise their creative freedoms as capitalists to do whatever they want to make money. It's part of what this country is based on is that kind of thing. And if you start placing all these ridiculous regulations, I mean, as we've already seen, it's stifling the economy. It's not helping anybody out. I mean, it's helping people who aren't smart enough to make their own decisions, about, I don't know if I want to smoke because, it could make me sick. Well, no, it makes you look cooler and you should do it. It's that kind of thing. You got to consider that. People are smart enough to make their own choices and you don't need to regulate them. Look, if they're eating soup from a factory that produced lead paint the day before, they should look it up and know that kind of thing. It doesn't matter if the lead's getting into the soup. It doesn't matter. People should be smart enough to make their own calls on this kind of thing. It's a really easy concept, in my opinion.
When it comes to things like the smoking ban, it's very cut and dry, I think, because you're literally making sure that the Wayne State students don't get harmed. But what about when it comes to environmental regulations, such as protecting our earth? We need those government restrictions to stop things like fossil fuels from completely degrading our climate. We need things like the limit of our carbon emissions as well? What about the deforestation of our amazing planet? So it's also clear that the government regulations in that aspect help as well.
Environmental regulations are going too far as well, I mean, if you think about it, why do we have to be conscious about the environment? Now, hear me out on this, all right? Does a tiger in the forest care if it eats a squirrel? No. I don't care if the runoff that I'm dumping kills a duck. I mean, humans are biologically animals, and we're holding ourselves in too high of regard to think that we're special. What is that all about, It's all these environmental regulations are just it's not fair. It's not fair. Not fair at all. It makes it harder to grow tobacco when you start placing all these environmental regulations. It changes the soil qualities and all of that. I'm not a fan. Not a fan of environmental regulations.
What's next? They gotta tell me where I can and can't stand or walk